The city never slept, and tonight neither could Brianna Harris. Neon lights flickered across wet pavement from an earlier rain, painting the sidewalks with streaks of gold and pink. She walked with her head down, a habit born from years of knowing that being a young black woman alone after dark meant drawing the wrong kind of attention. Her worn Nikes slapped against concrete, each step a reminder of the double shift she'd just survived at Rosie's Diner. Brianna's left shoulder burned. Earlier, during the dinner rush, her manager had piled 6 plates under her arm. "You're young, you can handle it," he'd said, dismissing her wince. The ache hadn't stopped since. She rubbed it absently, her other hand clutching her phone where 3 unread texts glowed. Final notice. Eviction in 72 hours. Her stomach growled despite the cold turkey sandwich she'd snatched from the kitchen, the one perk of closing shift. Inside her pocket, her wallet held exactly $14.73. Not enough for this week's insulin for Mama. Not enough for the overdue Con Ed bill with its angry red stamp. Definitely not enough for rent. "Just 3 more days," she reminded herself, "then you're out on the street." She dodged a puddle, weaving through late-night pedestrians, mostly white faces, streaming from bars and restaurants, laughing, carefree. Nobody saw her. That was fine. Being invisible sometimes meant being safe. Then she saw it. A wallet. Lying near a bus bench like someone had carelessly dropped it. Sleep, leather, the kind that cost more than her entire month's rent. Brianna's heart stuttered. She glanced around. No one was watching. Her hand trembled as she crouched down, fingers hovering over the wallet. "Just look," she told herself. "Just see if there's a name." She opened it. Her breath caught. Crisp $100 bills. She counted 8 of them, maybe more underneath. Credit cards with names embossed in old. An ID. Alexander Carlyle. The Alexander Carlyle, tech billionaire. His face was on Forbes covers. His company owned half of Manhattan's skyline. And here she was, holding his entire life in her calloused hands. Brianna sat back on the bench, wallet heavy in her lap. $800, maybe more. She pulled out her own wallet for comparison, a faded thing held together with a safety pin. Inside, $14.73 and a photograph of Mama before the diabetes got bad. Her mother's voice echoed in her memory as clear as church bells. "Baby, they already think the worst of us. Don't give them a reason. You keep your head high and your hands clean, you hear me? Mama scrubs floors at St. Luke's Hospital for 30 years. Never missed a day, never took a dime. It wasn't her, even when doctors left 20s on their desks. Our dignity ain't for sale," she'd say. Brianna closed her eyes. The math was cruel and simple. This money could save them. 3 months of rent, Mama's medication, the electric bill, maybe enough for her own doctor's appointment, the one she'd been putting off since that pain in the side started. "Nobody would know," a dark voice whispered. "Nobody would even blame you. You found it. Finders keepers. But she would know. God would know, and Mama, even from her hospital bed, would know." I could already see the disappointment in those tired brown eyes. "No," she whispered, gripping the wallet tighter. "No shortcuts." She stood abruptly, shoving the wallet deep in her hoodie pocket. Her phone said Carlights Enterprises was 23 blocks downtown. Her feet already ached. The subway would be faster, but she'd spent her last MetroCard swipe getting to work this morning. Walk is... Brianna pulled her hood up and started moving. With each block, doubt crept in. What if they don't believe me? What if they think I stole it? Her mind hated the scene. Security guards, police, handcuffs. She heard the stories. Black people accused of theft even when they were the victims. Even when they were trying to help. The familiar knot of anxiety tightened in her chest. Code switching kicked in automatically. She mentally rehearsed the words, made sure her tone would be non-threatening, reminded herself to smile, but not too much, to be confident, but not aggressive.
"You're doing the right thing," she repeated like a prayer. "Just return it and leave. Simple." The city seemed determined to test her. A construction detour forced her through a neighborhood where men catcalled from stoops. A street performer's drums pounded so loud she had to cover her ears. The smell of halal cart food made her stomach cramp with hunger. Finally, after 40 minutes of walking, she stood before Carlisle Enterprises. The building was a tower of glass and steel, its windows reflecting the chaos of the city like a funhouse mirror. Brianna stared up at it, feeling impossibly small. Behind those windows were people who never worry about rent, never choose between food and medicine, never walk 23 blocks because they couldn't afford the subway. She touched the wallet through her hoodie. This thing represented more money than she'd see in a year, and she was about to give it back. Mama would be proud. Brianna pushed through the revolving doors. The lobby was a cathedral of marble and wealth, abstract sculptures that probably cost 6 figures, a chandelier that looked like frozen starlight. Her sneakers squeaked against the polished floor, the sound somehow loud in the vast space. The receptionist looked up, blonde, polished, her smile tightening almost imperceptibly as she took in Brianna's appearance. The worn hoodie, the scuffed shoes, the exhaustion etched into her face. "Can I help you?" The pause before help spoke volumes. Brianna straightened her spine. Code switch activated. "Good evening. I found something that belongs to Mr. Alexander Carlisle." She carefully pulled out the wallet, handling it like a sacred object. "I wanted to return it to him." The receptionist's perfectly shaped eyebrows rose. Her gaze flicked from the wallet to Brianna's face, suspicion flickering across her features. "I see. And where exactly did you find this?" The air quotes were invisible, but Brianna heard them clearly. "On the street, near the F train station in Brooklyn." She kept her voice steady, professional. "Everything's still inside. I didn't take anything." Why did I say that? Now she definitely thinks I'm guilty. The receptionist's smile never reached her eyes. Well, I'll need to verify this. Stay right there." She picked up the phone, but her free hand moved towards something under the desk. Security button, Brianna realized, with a sinking feeling. She thinks I stole it. "Mr. Carlisle, there's a situation in the lobby. A young woman claims she found your wallet." Another pause. "Yes, sir. I'll send her up, but perhaps security should—" A voice crackled through the phone, cutting her off. The receptionist's expression shifted. Surprise, then reluctant acceptance. "Of course, sir. Right away." She hung up, looking at Brianna with barely concealed confusion. "He wants to see you. 32nd floor. Elevators to your right." Brianna nodded, not trusting her voice. As she walked away, she heard the receptionist mutter to someone, probably trying to get a reward. The elevator ride felt eternal. Brianna watched the numbers climb, her reflection staring back from the polished steel doors. A tired black girl in a stained hoodie, holding a wallet worth more than her life. What am I doing? The doors opened. A hallway stretched before her, all glass and chrome. And at the end, silhouetted against floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the glittering city, stood a man. Alexander Carlisle turned, and their eyes met. Brianna's heart hammered. This was it. No turning back now. She stepped forward, wallet extended like a white flag. "Mr. Carlisle, I found this. I wanted to return it to you." He didn't move, just studied her with sharp blue eyes that seemed to calculate everything, her appearance, her intentions, her worth. The silence stretched like taffy. Finally, he spoke. "You walked here?" "Yes, sir." "From Brooklyn?" Yes, sir. Why? The question hung between them. Brianna swallowed hard. Because it was the right thing to do. Alexander Carlyle stepped closer, and Brianna fought the urge to step back. He took the wallet from her hands, his fingers brushing hers for just a second. His soft, hers calloused from years of hard work. He opened it, checked the contents, then looked at her again, this time with something that might have been respect. Most people wouldn't have done this. I'm not most people.
A ghost of a smile touched his lips. No, I don't think you are. He paused, seeming to make a decision. Come with me. I want to talk to you. Brianna's throat went dry. This wasn't how she'd imagined it going. Sir, I just wanted to return. I know, and I appreciate it. But humor me. 5 minutes of your time. He turned and walked toward his office. After a heartbeat of hesitation, Brianna followed. She had no idea that this moment, this choice, would change everything. Alexander Carlyle's office was a temple of wealth that made Brianna's stomach turn. Not from envy, though God knew she had reason, but from the sheer distance between his world and hers. Marble floors that probably cost more than her entire neighborhood. Abstract paintings she'd seen in museums during a high school field trip. Floor-to-ceiling windows framing the city like it was something he owned. She stood at the threshold, suddenly aware of every stain on her hoodie, every scuff on her Nikes. Please, sit. Alexander gestured to a leather chair that looked more expensive than her mother's hospital bills. Brianna perched on the edge, back straight, hands folded in her lap. The posture Mama taught her for job interviews. Sit like you belong, baby, even when you don't. Alexander settled behind his massive desk, the wallet now in front of him. He didn't open it, just studied her with those calculating blue eyes. The silence stretched uncomfortably. How did you know it was mine? He finally asked. Your ID, sir. I only looked to find the owner. You didn't count the money? Brianna's jaw tightened. Here it comes. I saw there was cash. I didn't count it. But you knew there was enough to solve some problems. It wasn't a question. She met his gaze directly. Yes, sir, I knew. And yet you walked 23 blocks to return it. He leaned back, steepling his fingers. Why? The question felt like a test. Brianna chose her words carefully. Because it wasn't mine. And because... She hesitated, then decided honesty was the only card she had left to play. Because my mama spent 30 years scrubbing floors at St. Luke's. Doctors would leave money on their desks, 20s, sometimes 50s. She never took $1. She used to tell me, they already expect us to steal, baby. Don't prove them right. Something flickered across Alexander's face. Surprise? Discomfort? It passed too quickly to read. Your mother sounds like a wise woman. She was. Is. Brianna's throat tightened. She's in hospice now. Diabetes complications. I'm sorry. He sounded genuine, which somehow made it worse. Pity from powerful men always came with strings. That must be difficult. It is what it is. Brianna straightened her spine, refusing to be reduced to her struggles. But I didn't come here for sympathy, Mr. Carlyle. I came to return your wallet. If that's all... Wait. He held up a hand. I want to understand something. You're clearly in a difficult financial situation. The wallet contained $800 in cash. That could have helped with medical bills, rent, whatever you're facing. You had to know I'd never miss it. He leaned forward. What stopped you? Brianna felt heat rise to her face. Anger mixing with exhaustion. With all due respect, sir, I'm not a thief, and I don't steal just because I can. That's not who I am. I didn't mean to suggest... Didn't you? The words came out sharper than intended, but she was too tired for code switching anymore. You want to know why I returned it? Because I was raised to believe that integrity isn't situational. It doesn't disappear just because you're broke. And yeah, I'm broke, but I'm not broken. The silence that followed felt like standing on the edge of a cliff. Brianna waited for him to call security, to throw her out for speaking to him like an equal instead of a charity case. Instead, Alexander Carlyle did something unexpected. He laughed, a short, surprised sound that seemed to catch even him off guard. "You're right," he said quietly. "That was condescending. I apologize." He opened a drawer, pulled out a business card, and slid it across the desk. "I don't make this offer lightly, Miss Harris, but I'd like you to come back tomorrow. There's a position opening in my community outreach division. The pay is $60,000 a year with benefits, if you're interested."
Brianna stared at the card like it might bite her. "Sir, I appreciate the gesture, but I don't need charity." "It's not charity." His tone was firm now. "It's an opportunity, one you'd have to earn. The position requires someone with perspective, someone who understands what it means to struggle and survive, someone who makes the hard choice when an easy one is right there." He gestured at the wallet. "You've already proven you can do that." "You don't know anything about my qualifications." "You're right, which is why this isn't a job offer. It's an interview invitation. Tomorrow, 9 a.m., you'll meet with my HR director and the team lead. They'll assess your skills, your potential, your fit. If they don't think you're right for the role, we shake hands and part ways. But if they do," he met her eyes, "then you'll have earned it. No handouts, no savior complex, just a fair shot." Brianna's hands trembled as she picked up the card. Alexander Carlyle, CEO, Carlyle Enterprises. A phone number embossed in gold. "Why?" she whispered. "Because talent is everywhere, Miss Harris. Opportunity isn't." He stood, signaling the meeting was over. "I believe in investing in people who invest in doing the right thing, even when it costs them." Brianna walked out of Carlyle Enterprises in a daze. The subway ride home blurred. She clutched the business card like a lifeline, afraid it might disappear if she let go. "This isn't real," part of her whispered. "Men like him don't help girls like you." But another part, the part that had walked 23 blocks in worn-out shoes, the part that had chosen integrity over survival, whispered something different. "Maybe you earned this." 3 months later, Brianna adjusted her blazer, second-hand from Goodwill but professionally tailored, and looked out over the conference room. 15 community leaders sat around the table discussing Carlyle Enterprises' new affordable housing initiative, an initiative she had helped design. The interview had been grueling. The HR director had been skeptical, the team lead dismissive, but Brianna had fought for every inch, proving her knowledge of community needs, her creativity in problem-solving, her ability to navigate both corporate culture and street-level reality. She'd gotten the job on merit, not because of a wallet, not because a billionaire felt guilty, because she was good enough. The work wasn't easy. Some colleagues whispered that she was a diversity hire. Others assumed she'd slept her way to the position. Brianna learned to let their doubts fuel her determination rather than break it. Alexander kept his distance professionally, which she appreciated. No special treatment, no savior moments, just clear expectations and room to grow. When she succeeded, it was her victory. When she stumbled, she'd pick herself up. 6 months later. "Miss Harris," the nurse's voice was gentle. "She's awake." Brianna entered the hospice room where Mama lay, thinner now, but eyes still sharp. "Baby girl." Mama's voice was paper-thin. "How's the new job?" Brianna pulled up a chair, taking her mother's hand, the same hand that had scrubbed floors for 3 decades, the same hand that had raised her with dignity and grace. "It's good, Mama, really good. We launched the housing program last week. 50 families will have homes by Christmas." Mama smiled. "I knew you'd do something special." She squeezed Brianna's hand weakly. "I'm proud of you, baby. Not for the job, but for who you are. You kept your hands clean." Tears burned Brianna's eyes. "I learned from the best. But remember, though," Mama's voice grew serious, "success don't change who you are. It reveals it. Stay humble, stay honest, and when you get to the top, baby, send the elevator back down." Brianna nodded, throat too tight for words. 1 year later, Brianna stood on a stage at the community center in Brooklyn, her old neighborhood, watching families move into renovated apartments. Children laughed in new playgrounds. Mothers cried with relief at finally having stable housing. Alexander stood beside her, but he wasn't the story today. The community was. A little girl approached Brianna shyly. "Miss, my mama says you helped us get our house." Brianna crouched down, eye level with the child. "Your mama's right, but you know what? A whole lot of people helped, including you." "Me?" "Yeah, because you and your family deserve a safe place to live. And sometimes all it takes is someone believing that and then working hard to make it happen." The girl smiled and ran off into a building that hadn't existed a year ago. "She reminds me of someone," Alexander said quietly. "Yeah?" "A young woman who walked 23 blocks to do the right thing, even when it would have been easier not to." Brianna smiled. "That young woman learned something that night, Mr. Carlyle. She learned that integrity isn't about the easy choices, it's about the hard ones, and that sometimes doing the right thing doesn't just change your life, it gives you the power to change someone else's." She looked out at the families, at the children playing, at the community thriving. Mama was right. You send the elevator back down.